Okay, children, continuing with chapter 13. Today we will be doing exercise 13.4. And as I told you in the last class, if you can get hold of a graph book, just try to get one, as we may need it after about a week or so. And of course, if you can't get a graph book, then also it is okay. But preferably, if you can get a graph book, it will be good. Now, as I sent you in the formula sheet, now we will talk about a sphere. A sphere surface area formula is 4 pi r square. For example, Earth is a sphere, so the formula is 4 pi r square. Whenever a question comes, find the surface area of a sphere. So basically, you have to use 4 pi r square. They won't mention total surface area or curved surface area. They will just say the sentence, find the surface area of a sphere. So you have to use this formula by default, which is 4 pi r square. Now, if we cut a sphere in between, okay, suppose we cut it from here. Then what we get is a hemisphere. Hemisphere upper part is that is 2 pi r square, that is CSA, curved surface area. Okay. Many sums in which a dome of a temple is there. In those type of sums, and that has to be painted. Generally, we use this formula 2 pi r square. Then there is total surface area. In that, the base, which is in this shape of a circle, if that is also included, then we use this formula. That is 3 pi r square. How do you get this formula? 2 pi r square plus pi r square. Therefore, it becomes 3 pi r square. So this is a sphere and this is a hemisphere. Okay. Now we'll just discuss a few questions. Exercise 13.4. After we finish 13.4, we will stop. We will not do the chapter 13 anymore, as I told you initially. Then we will go to some other chapter, mostly either chapter 3 or chapter 1. Depending upon the situation. Anyway, now first question is, find the surface area of a sphere, and the formula is written and everything is there. So simply you will use the formula 4 pi r square. Here again, as you notice, pi is given 22/7, so the value which he says, use that only. Question number 2, find the surface area of a sphere of diameter. And again the 3 diameters are given. Obviously you will convert them into radius and then again the same formula. Question number 4. Find the total surface area of a hemisphere of radius 10 centimeter. And here the pi value which he has written, only use that. And total surface area, as you know, is 3 pi r square. Question number 4. The radius of a spherical balloon increases from 7 centimeter to 14 centimeter as air is being pumped into it. So initially, say R1 was 7 centimeter and R2 was 14 centimeter. Find the ratio of the surface areas of the balloon in the two cases. So whenever this type of question comes to find the ratio of the surface area, some kids make the mistake of calculating everything. For example, they will calculate surface area, suppose S1 of this one, which is again it is a spherical, so you will calculate 4 pi R1 square, and S2 4 pi R2 square, and then you compare them. No, don't do this sum like that. There is an easier way to do it. The easier way is to do it. We have to find the ratio, say S1 upon S2, which represents the surface area, 4 pi R1 square upon 4 pi R2 square. And here if you see, one step by which you can make the sum easier is cut 4, 4 and pi. You can straight away cut them. So you just have to find R1 square upon R2 square. R1 value you know, 7 into 7, and the other also you know. You just cut this and get the answer. So whenever a sum involving ratios comes, always do the sum like this. Okay, then your sum will be easier. Okay. Now question number 5. A hemispherical ball has an inner diameter of 10.5 centimeter. Find the cost of plating it on the inside at the rate of rupees 16 per 100 centimeter square. So first of all, diameter, of course, we will convert to radius, 5.25 centimeters, and then on only this portion you have to cover. Okay? Only this portion. So you will be using the formula 2 pi r square. And again, here in this, as we had done in the earlier sums, Find the cost of plating it at the rate of 16 per 100 centimeter square. So whatever answer you get is 16 upon 100. You will multiply with 16 upon 100. So we have discussed these 5 questions. Apart from these 5 questions, I will be sending you a couple of more questions. Now these questions we have discussed very fast, but when you are solving them, solve them properly. Otherwise, many times children make mistakes in solving. Okay, so do them carefully. So the exercise 13.4, first 5 questions, and I'll also send a couple of more questions. Okay. Now moving ahead. We will discuss a few things in science now of chapter 1, which we had started the other day. Now, I sent you notes on Monday, so on Wednesday, and by now I guess all of you must have gone through them at least once. The properties of solids, liquids and gases, you would have read about it. Now, I had sent you a few questions also to write, and in the end, now in the solids, one property which was there, which I told you about, for example, it does not fill the container in which it is kept. For example, this pencil, if I am putting, okay, it does not take its shape. But in science, you will find there will always be a few exceptions to anything. For example, we had done, I had in the question answer one, if you put sugar in a cup, it takes the shape of a cup. If you put salt in a cup, it takes the shape of the cup. Of course, the individual crystals retain their shape. So, the reason I am telling you this, in science, many times you will find there will be some exceptions to the rule. For example, generally when we are converting, say, suppose water is there, okay, and water, if we give it heat, it becomes into vapor state, okay. Similarly, but for everything this will not be valid. For example, some solids, when we give them heat, they will melt, okay, but not all solids will melt. For example, if we give heat to the wood, it will burn, it will not melt. The three stages of water which we know of are ice, then we know liquid, and then we know gas. And all these 3 stages we can interchange depending upon the role of the temperature. Okay, if there is something in ice form, if we give it heat, it will turn to liquid. If we give it more heat, it will turn to gas. Similarly, if we go reverse, gases, if we condense, we get liquid, and liquid, if we give it more cooling, it becomes ice. So for water, the 3 stages we are able to interchange, but this is not valid in all the materials. Okay, depending on the materials, in some materials you will get this, in some materials you will not get this. Now, on page number 6 of the textbook, there are 4 questions which I just want to discuss a little bit. The first question is, the mass per unit volume of a substance is called density. Now, first of all, density formula, which we will be using later on in the chapter, density is known as mass upon volume. Okay, this is a formula of density. Okay, the mass per unit volume of substance is called density. Arrange the following in the order of increasing density: air, exhaust from chimneys, honey, water, chalk, cotton and iron. Now normally, whenever we talk of density, we generally solids have the most density, then the liquid, and then gases. Gases have the least density generally. Okay, so depending on that, just try to tabulate this. Similarly, question number 2, A part, tabulate the differences in the characteristic states of matter. And the second question is, comment upon the following: rigidity, compressibility, fluidity, filling a gas with container, shape, kinetic energy, density. Basically, question 2, A and B part, you can do it in one go only. For example, comment upon, say, rigidity. Okay, so here you write rigidity, here you write solids, liquid and gases. Okay, so rigidity you will write solids are most rigid, liquids are not rigid and gases are not rigid at all. or least rigid. Okay, so that's how you make the table here: rigidity, compressibility, okay, fluidity, filling a gas with container, shape. In shape, for example, you will write solids have fixed shape, liquids do not have fixed shape, gases also do not have fixed shape. Okay, so these characteristics here, you write the characteristics here, and then here you write solid, liquid, and gas, and you comment on that. So this question basically gives you differences also. For example, in the exam, if question comes, write 2 points of differences between solid and liquid. So depending on, you can write on the rigidity, using that points of rigidity and compressibility, you can write the differences also. So this question basically gives you the differences also, or in a way it tells you about the properties also. Now question number 3 is there. A gas, give reasons. A gas fills completely the vessels in which it is kept. Now, as you know, as compared in the properties, if you have read, solids, liquids and gases. In gases, the particles are very loosely packed, and as they are very loosely packed, they have high kinetic energy and negligible forces of attraction between its particles, due to which they keep on moving very fast. Okay, so that's how you have to write it. Second question is, a gas exerts pressure on the walls of the container. Now, when you just read this in your textbook, just read this page. When you are reading it, you will get the answer of this. Okay, when you read this paragraphs, you will get the answer of this. I don't want to spoon feed all the answers to you. Just I want to do something on your own. Question number C: a wooden table should be called a solid. Now, whenever this type of question comes now, a wooden table should be called a solid, or a soft drink should be called a liquid. Just write 1 or 2 properties of the state of which he is talking about. For example, a wooden table should be called a solid. You can write as it has a fixed shape, as it has a fixed volume. Similarly, if it is related to water, something, why a soft drink is called a water, you write just 2 points regarding the properties. Okay, any 2 points you can write. Question number D: we can easily move our hand in air, but to do the same through a block of wood, we need a karate expert. This question is same like that diver question, in which why is diver is able to jump into a swimming pool, and if you remember, the answer to that was the particles of liquid have space between them. Similarly, we are able to move our hand through air because in air is a gas, and they are very loosely packed as compared to a block of wood in which they are more tightly packed. Lastly, question number 4. Now, up till now, question number 1, 2, 3 questions, basically they were there in your textbook, or they are in the notes also. But question 4 is not there in your textbook at all. Question 4 is, liquids generally have lower density as compared to solids, but you must have observed ice floats on water. Find out why. Now, ice floats on water, you must have heard of icebergs. And the reason ice floats on water, when ice is formed, there are air pockets created inside it. Okay. Now, because of these air pockets, the net density of the ice block becomes less than that of water, and due to which it is able to float. So the answer to this question you will write: when ice is formed, air pockets are also formed inside it, due to which the density of ice becomes less than the density of water, due to which it floats. Okay, so we have discussed 4 questions. Question number 1, 2, 3, 4 on page number 6. Okay, so finish that. Cheers.